dive a little deeper, right? As far as like, how many speakers do we have in the Bible? Many,
Hmm.
right? There's many speakers. There's many people speaking in the Bible, right? But are all speakers that are in the Bible equal?
Nah, they
No.
not.
No, right? So when you have something like authoritative, takes authoritative precedence.
Moses, Solomon.
Moses,
Did he write the Torah?
he was part of it, but if can we see Moses speaking outside of the Torah?
No.
We can't.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, outside of the Torah, like outside of the 5 books? Yes.
Well, like what I'm saying, outside of like giving commandments.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see that?
Ah, you can.
Fuck.
Nah, you can see him talking, right? So when I'm asking the question and we see people speaking, right? And who's authoritative, do we not see Yahweh speaking?
Con,
Even outside the first five books of the Torah, we see Yahweh speaking,
con.
right? When he's speaking through the mouth of the prophets, right? So
Mhm.
so when I'm asking the question, who has the authoritative voice?
The Most High.
The Most High. There you go. Most High has the authority. So whatever we see, thus saith the Lord, this is all we know. We always know we're gonna go with this first, right? Who is second?
Howard Shah,
Yahweh Shai. Why is that?
because he speaks the same as the Father.
Exactly, right? He speaks nothing no different than what the Father speaks. Let's get there real quick. All right, let's get Slovakia. Damn, Slovakia. I thought it was John 7. Listen, hold on, give me 1 second. Slovakia. John 12 and 48. And it says, He that rejecteth me and receiveth not my words have one that judgeth him. And the word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me, he give me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak thereof, even as the Father saith unto me, so I speak. So we know and we see that Christ doesn't come and speak anything of his own. Is whatever the Father tells him to speak, right? And we can get a precept for that in the Torah, right? Deuteronomy 18 and verse 18. And it says, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. Right? And so we know who that prophet is, right? Like unto their brother is Yahushua, right? So whatever the Most High gives to Yahushua, Slakia, Yahushua and speaks, that's what he speaks, right? So we can see who has authority, right? Right? And we go here to say this when we go here, we do all this to say this. When we see Yahweh Shai speaking, right, we need to be holding that as something like next to the commandments, if you will, right? Because essentially it's the most high God speaking, right? And he doesn't say anything different. So yes, we should. That's why here's the patience of the saints. Let's get it. Revelation 14 and 12. And it says, Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments and the faith in Yahweh Shai, right? And we believe in Yahweh Shai. We believe on what he said, what his ministry, right? So as you can see, I say that to say, as we can see, these are always hand in hand, right? So now, with that being said, we're gonna go into some of Christ's principles of what he taught, right? It's probably gonna be a part two because it's so many of stuff that he taught. Um, so we're probably gonna do a part two to this, but we're just gonna go over some, right? And we're going over this, right? So we understand why we're going over this. We're going over this to understand to be to want to be Christ-like, to because we hear that shit in the church 24/7. Oh, it's not Christ-like, right? But they're not actually doing what Christ told them to do, right? And so we understand we need to be exactly. And so let's go into his words and see what he says. And then we need to examine that for ourselves to see if we're doing it, right? So let's start with Matthew 4 and verse 4, right? So like I'm gonna start at verse 3, and it reads, and when the tempter came into him and said, if thou be the Son of Man, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God, right? And so where can we see God speaking, right? And we already understood where we can see that is in the Torah, um, right? Where or the commandments, right? So Christ is saying you must live by all the words of the Most High God Yahweh. You must live by the commandments, right? So this is in the beginning chapters of Matthew, and this is one of the first principles we are pretty much understanding of how to follow or how to conduct ourselves, if you will, right? That Yahweh Shai is being led out, following every word of the Most High God, right? Let's get another one. Let's go to Matthew 5 and verse 12, or Slacky, 17. It says, think not that I have come to destroy the law of the prophets. I have not to come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, until heaven and earth pass, one jot and one tittle shall not otherwise pass from the law, until all be fulfilled. Right? But verse 19. Whosoever there shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach men so, and he shall be called the least in the kingdom. But whosoever shall do and teach them the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Right? So we see another one. We just got done reading that Christ is talking about live by every word that the Most High God say. Then he's also doubling down on it, saying keep the commandments and then teach men to do so. Right? So if you're following Christ, right, and you're trying to understand his principles, right, these two principles right here in the beginning of the gospel, right, is dealing with keeping God's law and then teaching men to. And he's also giving you the tip or the inner secret of how to be great in the kingdom by doing so, right? So this is what we need to be implementing in our lives on a day-to-day basis, right? Let's keep reading that verse 20. And it says, for I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? And who can tell me why he's saying your righteousness must exceed the scribes and the Pharisees? Why is he saying that? Who are the scribes and Pharisees?
Yeah, I know the scribes and the Pharisees don't believe, well, they believe in the same thing, but they have some slight differences.
Right, they got some slight differences. Well, scribe is just somebody is a writer. That's what scribe. Pharisees is just a set. But why is he saying until your righteousness exceeds the scribes and the Pharisees? A scribe is a writer. So what is he writing?
Oh, he's writing what's been um
He's writing lies.
He's writing what?
He writing lies.
Not lies.
he's
Remember
writing what's being told to him.
what's being told to him, but what's the scribe's job? Does anybody know what a scribe's job?
They like
Main job.
collector. They like Matthew, right?
Well, Matthew was a recorder, like a publican. He wasn't necessarily a scribe, right?
No,
Because what is a scribe dealing with? First of all, it's like, where is the Pharisees normally at? What are these Pharisees normally doing? It's very
they use
simple.
at the temple.
At the temple. So what's consistently at the temple?
The scrolls.
The scrolls, right? And so what are scribes doing?
They constantly learning and learning
Right? But what's in those scrolls?
the Torah.
The Torah and the prophets.
Hmm.
right? So we gotta understand something. The scribe, our paper that we wrote on would deteriorate, right? So essentially, you would have to have somebody 24/7, if you will, on a clock shift, for real, like how they were rewriting everything, right?
Mm.
Because our paper would deteriorate, and that's the whole purpose of the scribe was just rewrite, which was given to the Levites. That's why we made mention of the temple. Because why? Who's in the temple? Levites, Levites, right?
Right.
And so that's why when Christ is saying, "Except your righteousness exceed the scribes and the scribes are doing what? Consistently in the law because they have
Mhm.
to write it. And what does the Pharisees was going around telling niggas to do? What why was the Pharisees so in opposition of Christ? Anybody know? Because they thought Yahweh was forsaking Moses.
Mm.
Because the Pharisees, remember, Pharisees are strict on the law, right? So this is why Christ is telling you, except your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? Because why the Pharisees and scribes all are consistently dealing with the law, right? They're consistently dealing with the law. And so what is our righteousness? Let's get Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 6 in verse 25. And it says, and it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God as he hath commanded us. Right? So we understand the law, keeping the commandments is our righteousness. Right? So this is why Christ is saying, until your righteousness exceeds the scribes and the Pharisees, you and otherwise can't enter in the kingdom. Right? Because remember, he just got done talking about keeping the commandments. All right? Let's keep going. Verse 21. And it says, you have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, or whoever shall kill shall be in danger of judgment. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall be to say to his brother Rakah shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire. Right. So he's pretty much saying if you got a gripe with your brother and you ain't got no cause for it,
Mhm.
you are in danger of this judgment that's about to happen. Right. And it says, therefore, if thy bring thy gift to the altar, and there remembers that thy brother have aught against thee, leave thy gift before the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come after offer thy gift. Who can tell me why that is so significant? Right there. If you have a fault, right, with your brother, right, but you're coming to go give a gift to the Most High God, why is Christ telling them leave that gift there and go correct your fault with your brother, then come by and give your gift? Why is he saying that?
Because in the law it tells us to with our neighbor um like you shouldn't be holding any burdens or anything against your brother. You know,
Exactly. No
I
grudges, right?
grudges.
And so all Christ is showing them again, reiterating the law, but in a different way, different form of speaking, right? So if you got a fault with your brother, go handle that first before you come in front of Salaki, before you come into the Most High. Get that issue squared away before you give that gift, right? Because your heart needs to be corrected, right? Your heart needs to be in good standing. You can't be out here having grudges or having grudges and then try to go give a gift to the Most High God. No, give a gift to that brother first because you're upholding the law when you do so, right? And then come back to the Most High, right? So he's pretty much just telling them to get right with your brother, and that's what our people need. Because you gotta understand something. Why is Christ coming out here saying all these things? What's the climate like in Jerusalem or in Israel right now? Niggas out here sliming each other out in Israel. No different than today. No different than right now. Niggas will cut their brother's legs from up under them. Try to get over on them. That's why when you continue reading Matthew, it talks about the Pharisees and how they would like tell niggas to do something, but they're doing it in a manner of try to get like something from them, right? So essentially, they're not doing it in genuineness and they're not doing it in love. They're not loving their brother like how the commandment should is telling you. They're loving their brother with conditions, right? And so this is why it's important that Yahweh Shai is saying this to his people right now, so we can genuinely start loving our brothers, right, and our sisters, right? Because who it's almost like how you remember that Chris Paul meme where he's talking to somebody on the court and he's like smiling, and then as soon as he turns away, his face changes, right? That's
Hmm.
essentially what our people were doing to each other.
Yeah.
Deal with each other on like, oh yeah, yeah, it's cool, cool, cool. But then when I leave, I'm genuinely not there for you.
Hmm.
But that's not how you love your neighbor, right? And so that's the same thing what Christ is saying right here, and essentially, right? You gotta gripe with your brother, right? Well, he's actually saying he's kind of saying it how in a reverse way that I just said it to y'all, right? How you gotta gripe with your brother, you all like screw face with your brother, but then you come into the Most High and try to be like, oh yeah, I got my gift, and it's just like, nah, nigga, you supposed to love your neighbor. Go handle that first before you come over here. You get what I'm saying, right? And so that's one of the things we need to understand. We need to do, right? Especially when it's coming to Passover. Whatever gripe that you have with your brother, right? If y'all on some odds, y'all niggas need to make that shit up, right? If it's salvageable, right? Or even if it's not salvageable, right? And you guys are at odds, be the first nigga to be like, oh, my fault. Or you know what? Don't even worry about it, man. It's not that big, right? That's what it really means to love your neighbor and forgive your neighbor, right? But let's get Matthew 6, right? Matthew 6 and verse 1. And it reads, it says, take heed that ye do not Slaki, take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise, you have no reward in your Father, which is in heaven. So what are alms? Can anybody tell me what alms are?
It's like gifts you give to the homeless,
Right. Donations, if you will,
donations. Yeah.
right? To the homeless or anybody, right?
Uh,
But Christ right here is saying, do not do it before men to be seen of them, right? So when you give your alms, don't be out here like, hey, everybody, I'm out here giving away
mm-hmm.
money, giving alms, right? Otherwise, you have no reward of your Father, which is in heaven. So when you do that, the Most High is not going to give you a reward for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 2, therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogue and in the streets, that they may be they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward, right? So don't, when you out there in the streets giving your alms, don't be, hey, look, everybody, I just did a donation, or we got to record this and put this on the internet, man. We out
Mm-hmm.
here giving XYZ.
Uh,
Or or just what Christ is saying, do it out of the kindness of your heart, man. Right?
yeah.
Because some people are actually doing it just to show that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying the Most High is not going to reward you for that, right? People liking your stuff or giving you compliments for you doing it because you're showing it off, that's your reward.
Mm.
Right? And that's something our people need to understand. So what is in a general sense, what is he saying? Don't be out here showing off. And our people do this a lot. We show off, not knowing it's not helping you. Right? It says, verse 3, but when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thy alms may be in secret, and the Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Right? So when you out there giving alms, right? And alms is just an example. When you're out there giving alms, do it in secret, and the Most High God is going to reward you openly, right? So, like I said, the general sense of it is just don't be out here showing off, man. You can take that in the spiritual application on a lot of things that you do, because niggas will do something and they immediately try to go to social media to broadcast it.
Yeah.
Or they'll get this, or I'm gonna get this because I'm about to go crazy in front of the group when I get there. Stop showing off, man.
Mhm.
Be humble, be meek, because why is it important to be meek? Does anybody know? They speak this verse almost every time in in church.
The meek shall inherit the earth.
Exactly. That's why it's important to be humble and meek. Niggas gotta understand that. It specifically said the meek shall inherit the earth. What does inheriting the earth mean?
And rulership.
In rulership. We gotta that verse right there, and that's Matthew 5:5. I'm gonna read it. And it says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. We got to understand that verse is not harped on like it should be, or enlarged like it should be. It said the meek shall inherit the earth. We're going to be rulers, most high one, if it's us. The meek are going to be the ones ruling. So this is why it's important for you to be humble. This is why it's important not to you out here trying to show off and doing XYZ, because this is your reward. You trying to show off in front of men, the Most High gives you a reward. Okay, here's your kingdom right here. There you go. Your little world that you in.
Mm.
Yeah, you may not inherit the earth because you out here not being meek. Right? Meek, right? And then also we understand too, let your light shine. We understand that. So not essentially when we say this, not necessarily suppressing yourself, but don't be out here like, man, you see this water bottle right here, man? I'm about to bring this out and all the crowd gonna love it, man. They ain't got no idea. Like, bro, you ain't gotta show off your stuff. The Most High bless you with a new ass water bottle. Cool. Just go out there and drink it, but don't have that on your forefront. I'm about to show everybody this joint, because essentially, the Most High can take that stuff away from you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get Matthew 6 and verse 19. And it says, lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth, where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break there through and steal. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. What does Christ mean by this? Lay not up treasures for yourself on earth, but lay them up in heaven. What does he mean by this? Is he saying don't get money?
Nah, just don't get so consumed with materialistic things that you can't take basically,
God,
new kingdom.
God, that's exactly what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get caught up in the material in the chasing of wealth, because you can't take that stuff with you, right? Somebody can rob that, right? A lot of that stuff can get old and it's no good, right? Uh, moth can eat it up, nigga. You might get your money might get ciphered from your family and all type of, what I mean, different stuff. Like you slowly start losing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's saying. He's not saying don't get money. He's saying don't put your heart on that, right? We're gonna keep reading, right? But set your heart on treasures that you can put in heaven. So essentially the long run. Think about the long run. How did this goes over with the Most High, right? Because we believe in regeneration, right? So when you regenerate, what are you doing now, right? That secured you a better spot when you regenerate. And that's what Christ is telling them essentially, right? Verse 20, back again. But lay up yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there is where your heart be also, right? So if your treasure is this material things, That's where your heart is going to be, right?
Mm.
So essentially, right? The devil can know where to attack you because he's going to attack you in your wealth and material because that's what your soul focus on, right? And he can break you that way. But when your heart is focused on his kingdom, man, it's very, very hard for the Most High, the God. I mean, for the Salaki, for Satan to get you tricked up. It's hard to do it because you're not attached to these things like other people are, right? And we know those people that's super materialistic, super caught up in this wealth, right, nigga? If they have a bad day, that's why some niggas in the stock market when they shit crashed, they was killing themselves, jumping out the window, right? Because their mind and their heart is so attached on I gotta get this wealth, I'm in this rat race, right? When it messed up, it caused them to destroy themselves, right? But when your heart is not set upon it, right, and your heart is worried about the Most High God and treasures, when calamities hit upon you and you lose certain things, it's not as bad to you. You got your fallback on is, oh, I got the Most High, right? Let's go. Verse 22. It says, "The light of the body is thy eye, and if therefore thine eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light. But if thy eye be evil, the whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?" Right. So what is he saying, man? If your eye is on that evil eye, or if your light isn't that your light, slack it. If your eye is on that light, you yourself is a better person, right? You have light flowing in you. But if your eye is an evil eye, you're a dark person, right? And we know how some niggas who are evil, they got a lot of stuff going on in them internally, right? And it's just full of dark. And that's what people say, oh, you're a nasty person. I think you're just a nasty person because their eye is so evil. But when your eye is focusing on that light, man, you can see like, oh, we can see the goodness in this dude, right? Verse 24, it says, "No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon," right? So you can't serve God and you can't serve wealth, right? It's gonna come down to a point where you're gonna have to choose because either you're gonna hate one and love the other, right? And sometimes niggas that's how they forsake the Most High God for money because they serving the money. Oh, I got to do this because I got to work because I got to get this bag. But then you going against what the Most High told you to do, Sabbath time, right? Or I got to break the commandments because I got to get this money, right? Which one are you going to serve? You can't serve both, right? And essentially that's how niggas get compromised when it comes to these deals that's being made, especially when you talk about entertainment business, right? Niggas will compromise themselves because they serving that manner. They serving that wealth. Right? And you can't do both. Right? But Christ tells you how to get treasure. So let's get that. Let's get a precept for that. This is Matthew 19 and verse 21. And it says, Jesus said unto him, "If thou will be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and go to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me." Right? So Christ told you exactly how to lay treasure up in heaven. And go and follow him. Even though he told the dude, sell what you have, he was testing the old boy because the boy had another question first before. He said, "How do I have eternal life and keep these commandments?" Right? And he told Christ, "Well, I'm keeping the commandments." It's like, all right, cool. If you're keeping the commandments, if if you want to be perfect, sell what you got and follow me, right? And he was testing him because the dude had much possessions, but he didn't want to sell them, right? So now I'm not saying go out and just sell everything you got. That's not that wasn't the gist of the message. It was just for that one guy in particular, sell what you got. But what you need to be doing though is following Yahushua, that who is in the world and he calls Jesus Christ. That's how you lay up the treasure in heaven. Well, one of the ways, right? And how do you follow Yahweh Shai? We're reading the principles that he said to do. You can see his words. They're in red letter in the Bible. Apply your life to them. This is how you follow him, right? And also believing on him that he is the Savior, right? Let's get Matthew 7 and verse 1. And it says, "Judge not that ye be not judged," right? So Christians will go here and say, "Oh, look, you cannot judge. Don't judge. Christ is telling you not to judge." That's not what he's saying entirely, right? We're going to expound upon what he's meaning by judge not, right? It says, For with what judgment ye judge, you shall be judged, and with what measure you meet, it shall be measured unto you to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? So when he's saying judge, right, not judge, the reason why he's saying that at this point right here is because brothers and sisters be judging, right, and not understanding they got something that they need to correct, right? And you don't want to be a hypocrite, right? So you need to correct what you have first before you can go out there and start telling other brothers and sisters what they need to be doing, right? Verse 4, and it says, "Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote of thy brother's eye." So see, he's not essentially saying you cannot judge. He's simply just saying you fix yourself first, then you can go tell other people what to do, right? Or judge people righteously, right? And that's what we need to be doing. You need to be correcting yourself every day. It should be examining yourself to correct yourself, right? So you won't be a hypocrite when you see other people not keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, or going off, that you can give guidance to them to help them, right? And it says, "Give not which is holy," Slakia. Yeah, Slakia. Well, we can say that. We can read this. Verse says, "Give not the which is holy into the dogs, neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them underfoot and turn again and rend you." Right. So this is good advice for when people don't be wanting to listen. Just don't. You ain't gotta keep knocking the door for niggas to listen. This product, right? This Bible, it sells itself, right? You don't have to convince a brother or sister for this, right? Because why? Christ said that there are many are called, but few are chosen, right? If few are already chosen, right? Not everybody's gonna get it, right? So you ain't gotta cast your pearls on dogs, because some people are just outfitted for destruction, man. Right? Sad thing to say, but it is what it is, right? Right? But yeah, correct yourself first, and then you can correct or start correcting other people, right? Um, I'm gonna read this last one. Let me open up for questions, right? But you got to understand something, right? All this is in preparation or principles to better guide you in your life, to prepare you for the kingdom, right? Or have your slot on the kingdom, right? And so we got to understand something about the kingdom, right? And Christ brings a parable about the kingdom, about people who come and hear this word, right, and receive it, and how some hold on to it, but some don't, right? And we're going to read it. This is Matthew 13 and verse 18, and it says, "Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower." It says, "When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then come the wicked one and catches away which is sown in his heart. That Slaki, this is which received the seed by the wayside," right? So what he's saying right here, when some people they hear the word, right? And it's that seed. The word is that seed is being referred to, right? They hear it, but then they get around a wicked one. and pretty much that joint carries them away, and so they disregard this word, right? Some people are going to be like that. We can see this today, right? Verse 20, it says, "But he that received the seed into a stony place, the same is the same as he that heareth the word and on in the joy, on in it with joy receiveth." Right. So if you're the one that's receiving this word in a stony place, you're gonna hear it and you're gonna like it, right? But who's ever done gardening? When
Yeah,
you can't plant a seed on a stone. Why is that?
there's it's no foundation, there's no soil.
Exactly. So let's keep reading. It says, "But he that receiveth the seed onto a stony place," like I read that, verse 21, "yet have not root in himself." So when you, like you said, there's no foundation, that stone, that seed gets put on that stone, there's no place for the roots to grab onto, right? It says, "But endure for a while, for when tribulation and persecution arise because of the word, by and by he's offended," right? So that stone, right? I mean, it's like that seed that's put on that stone. The niggas that enjoy this word, but when hard times and tribulation come through, right? They're not rooted in the word. So when that comes to pass, they're gonna be offended by the word and they're gonna leave the word,
Mm.
right? So we understand we got two sets of people right here, and they're gonna keep going. One that hears the word, and then when they get around that wicked stuff, they cast it behind their back. The other one is not rooted in this word, right? So when hard times hit, they're gonna run. They're gonna be scared. They're gonna flee, right? Verse 22, and it says, "He also that received the seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, it's like and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of the riches choke the word and becometh unfruitful," right? So you got some that are getting this word, but they're in the thorns, right? The meaning they hear the word, they hear Christ is the Savior, they hear we got to keep the commandments, but they're so caught up in the world, right? That the thorns are 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 the obstacles that choke them, meaning, oh, I gotta work, I gotta get this money, or I'm chasing these women, I can't stop that, or I gotta be fly, I gotta be cool, I can't stop that. You see what I'm saying? They letting all this worldly stuff affect them, right? So essentially, they're not becoming fruitful because they're not growing because all these thorns is piling up on them, right? So they're not gonna make it, right? But let's get verse 23. "But he that receiveth the seed with a good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some of hundredfold and some of 60 and some 30," right? So now for you, you need to be that seed that is in that good ground, that solid foundation, because you should be bearing fruit. You should be increasing. You should be moving up, right? Versus like all the other seed that's in stone, that's in thorns, that's in casting it by the wayside, right? And how do you get that? How do you be that seed that's sown in good ground? Is by keeping the commandments and following the principles that Christ has told you in order to enter into the kingdom, right? So we went over this just to give a self check, if you will. Ask yourself, are you keeping these principles? Are you lining yourself with these principles that Christ is telling the disciples in the multitude, right? And if not, then maybe that's what you should be looking forward to now, and especially around when Passover is coming through, right? But yeah, we'll probably do a part two of that because he has a lot more principles um, that we can dive into. But does anybody got any questions on that? Any questions?
No, I ain't got none.
Does anybody get any topics they want to talk about, or any off topic questions?
I got a question. It's
But
extremely off topic. Um, excuse me, I'm driving. What are your thoughts on our president cutting off all these agencies? Is there anything in the prophecies about that, or just what are your overall thoughts for where that puts us? I got a feeling you're gonna say it bring us closer to the end times, but like you and your personal thoughts on these matters.
um, it looks like what he's doing, cutting off these agencies, he's bringing it under one general control system, if you will. If you understand what I'm saying. Like, of course, we know the government is a control system, but he's unifying under one general location. So essentially, it's like it's almost like how you got the Doge join that he's using to audit, right? Um, Essentially, like he's aligning that everything under that one Doge structure. If you understand what I'm saying. So, for instance, we have different agencies like IRS, FBI, CIA, any other agency, right? Essentially, what he's trying to do, this is my opinion, speaking as a man. Essentially, is what he's trying to do, get that all out of all these different areas, these different departments, and put them under one general department that is governed by AI system. And so, what does that do? That gives totalitarian control, meaning who's ever in charge of that AI machine, that's in charge of everything.
It's a lot. Yeah, I seen something on Instagram today where he did something in New York where he cut off the congestion prices and he made a tweet. He was like, he's saving New York, long live the king.
Right, right. Yeah, so essentially, when you don't have these agencies, essentially it's all going to boil down to what Elon Musk wants to do
Hmm.
because there's nobody checking.
Now, of course, he curbing it like, 'cause, my wife, she worked for the federal government, right? And she worked for the Department of National Parks or whatever. But how he's verbalizing it is, obviously all these departments, it costs money to fund all of this. They got to pay a lot of people, and so he's carrying it like he's saving the United States money by not funding all of these departments, cutting several jobs. You saw he fired 100,000 FBI agents, and the sheep are looking at it. Let me not say sheep. Certain people are looking at it like, oh, he's saving the federal government money, i.e., us not having to pay taxes. Taxes pay for all that, right? But at the same time, they not thinking about it like, okay, we actually going a lot closer to a dictatorship.
Right, right, exactly. And then cut how do you cut jobs and cut people and still have efficiency at a lower rate? What do you have to do? You got to get machines to do it
Got to get them computers. Yep.
Hmm.
because you ain't got to pay a machine a monthly salary, but yet the machine is going to actually work. You see what I'm saying? And
Mm.
so that's essentially what I'm seeing. That's what he's trying to do. Get it all under that one AI umbrella. And it's literally whoever's controlling that computer is the ones in charge. Just for
Mm.
no sense basis.
Scary.
But that's all this has to happen because all it is gonna usher in is that mark of the beast at the end of the day. Notice everything is always about money. Right? That mark of the beast it's on the way. So this is what we gotta understand something right here. When we see these things, niggas need to be rejoicing, even though I know it can affect people and it's gonna be hard for certain brothers and sisters. But at the same time, every time you see something like this, you are one step closer to the kingdom because all this stuff has to happen in order for us to get up out of here, right? Which is all is just edging to the mark of the beast. They're gonna put out a chip that is essentially the one-stop shop for all government needs. Why you say that? Because if I got the chip, right, it can unlock all medical records, all criminal records, all financial, all IRS correct debt look up. It can access all that, all by the click of that one process of that one chip. So this is why he's
Hey,
eliminating all this.
June, when we refuse to get the chip, in essence, would that be the start of being in the wilderness? When we refuse
No,
the chip?
no. So the wilderness is gonna come where we get when we get right before the missiles drop.
Because we're gonna be locked out of society at that point.
Yeah, absolutely, right. But at the same time, though, that's why let me read this because I just read this. Matthew. Slovakia. What was it? Matthew 6. Right? So let's read this. So we were just in Matthew 6, right? So it's Matthew 6 and verse 25. It says, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you should eat, or what shall you drink, nor yet for your body, what shall you put on? Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Verse 26, listen carefully. It says, behold, the fowls in the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are you not much better than they? So when that time's gonna come, that time's gonna hit, right? And you know you gotta do clothe yourself, feed yourself, that system, we're gonna be locked out. Christ is telling you, birds don't the fowl in the air, they don't sow nothing. They're not gardeners. They don't grow food, right? And they don't reap. After the garden is filled, right? And is full, they're not out there reaping, right? They don't gather into barns, right? It says, but yet they find food. They get food. They just fly and food is provided for them by the Heavenly Father. Christ is telling you, aren't you not better than them? So what is he saying? If the Most High God can do that for a bird, he can provide for you in the time of if you have trouble. That's what he's saying. So to answer your question about, we're gonna be locked out of the system, that's the whole purpose of relying on the Most High. Because when you have faith in him, he's just gonna provide it for you. He's just gonna stuff. You ever wonder, like, damn, I need this. I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Mm.
And then next thing you know, that when it's deadline for it to make it happen, you get through it. But just yesterday, you didn't know how it was going to happen. The Most High God provide that for you, right? And if he can do it, then he can do it 1,000 times over. It's nothing to him. And so this is why essentially this is why the Bible talks about the hour of temptation. There's going to be a time where you're going to have to. Are you going to get that chip because you feel like you're going to be locked out of society? Or are you going to have faith in the Most High God, right, in that hour and be like, no, I'm not going to get it. The Most High God is going to provide you. This is why it's called the hour of temptation, because you're going to have to make a choice in that time. All right.
June, you got the COVID vaccine?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was doing studies on COVID vaccine before it came public. I was following that joint heavy. Like the test trials and the test subjects. Once I seen all of them getting blood clots, like they said in Norway, like 25 patients out of how many was getting blood clots. I said, I'm not taking this, John.
Dog, you ain't lying. When COVID came out, I was living in Michigan, and I was actually in school trying to become a nurse anesthetist. Right? This is a nurse who assists an anesthesiologist and putting people down for surgeries. And they was like, in order to be in this sector, even for the training, you gotta take the COVID vaccine. Nigga, I had to change my whole career path. I was in school for 3 years for that shit. Just to be like, you know what? You're not about to force me to do that, my nigga. You're not about to force me.
Right.
My mom trying to guilt me. Let me not even say that, but niggas trying to guilt you and don't even know what the fuck they be talking about. And that's the same place we gonna get to with this motherfucking chip.
Right.
That's the same place we gonna get to.
And then look at your life now.
I don't went another direction.
You see what I'm saying? All because you didn't want to compromise yourself. But yet the Most High still put you in another position where you're good.
For sure. My mother guilted my wife. She was trying to have me get my kids to do it. I said, please don't. You'll get your feelings hurt. But she said my wife to do it. My wife, in hindsight, blaming my mom. I said, don't blame my mom, nigga. That's you.
Right.
That's you. My mom lost. Don't be lost and blame her for you being lost too. That's on you.
Right. And this is important why to not get the chip, right? This is Revelation chapter 15 and verse 1. And it said, and I saw
why I get the chip.
yeah, no, this is important why you don't get the chip, right? This is Revelation 15 and verse 1. It says, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having 7 last plagues, for in them filled up the wrath of God, right? So John is seeing 7 angels that's getting ready to pour out plagues on earth that is filled with the wrath, right? And it said, and I saw as it were a sea of mingled glass, right? So essentially, what he's seeing the firmament, just to give you the answer already. The firmament pretty much in fire, right? Earth. And them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of the name that stand on the sea of glass, having harps and God, right? So what is he saying? He's seeing people that is rejoicing and have won and got the victory, them that didn't take the chip. So if you take the chip, essentially, to reiterate, to make it plain, if you take the chip, you will not see victory, according to what John just said. Right? Because the place that what John is seeing right here in this Revelation 15, he's essentially seeing Most High One is us. He's essentially seeing us in the chariots in the sky, why the earth is in turmoil. Right? But we just read here, the ones that are up there in the sky are the ones that did not receive the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. So this is why it's important for you not to take it. All right. And then and after that, that's when we come down into what's the name? That's when we come down in the wilderness. And then from the wilderness, what happens next when we're in the wilderness? Who knows? Who knows what happens when we're in the wilderness?
When we in the wilderness, we go. That's the Most High taking the elect up into the wilderness, and then we go back home to Israel.
Well, the wilderness is.
No, he'll take. I'm sorry. Go.
I was about to say the wilderness is in Israel.
Right.
Okay.
So it's on the outskirts. Right. So what happens when we're in that wilderness? What happens immediately after when we're in the wilderness?
Is the bombs the wilderness would be the aftermath of the bombs, correct? Of the fire.
Right. So it'd be the aftermath, right? So what?
So the elect, these brothers not even there. They done already been removed.
Right. So the elect doesn't get hit with the bombs, right? But yet they come back into the wilderness. Most High One is us in the wilderness. What happens immediately after the wilderness? After we get in the wilderness? Bible readers. Yo, man, Christians be saying that should be tripping me out. Christians be saying, "Who's Bible readers?" I'm like, nigga, ain't none of y'all Bible readers.
Mm, mm.
All right. So what happens next after the wilderness? Ezekiel 39 and 38. The bricks come up and fight us. All right. This is Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 8. And it says, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years, but thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountain of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations that shall dwell safely, all of them. Who's going to dwell safely? Who's going to dwell safely?
The Israelites.
Exactly. It's important to understand who's going to dwell safely. Why is it important to know this? It's because we can show the whole earth, everybody else, the heathen is going to be in turmoil, but only Israel and Judah is the ones that's going to be in safety, right? This is Jeremiah 23 and verse 6. It says, in his days, Judah, so like I'm going to start at verse 5. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will rise up unto David a righteous branch, and the king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice on the earth. So who's that person being referred to? Christ. Christ is going to come and reign and execute judgment on earth. We know what his judgment is like, right? Destruction. Verse 6, in his days, Judah shall be saved and Israel shall dwell safely. And in this, the name of whereby he shall be called the Lord, our righteousness, right? So when you read in Ezekiel 38, and it says, and they that should dwell safely, all of them, that's talking about Israel, right? And thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, and thou shalt be like unto a cloud of the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall these things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Right? And what's the unwalled villages? The wilderness, because there's no fort in the wilderness. Right? And I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely. We just read in Jeremiah 23, who dwells safely? Israel. And all them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that were now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations which have gotten the cattle and goods and dwell in the midst of the land, right? So of course we know when you read at the top of Ezekiel 38, this prophecy was to Gog, which is Russia, or the Slakia, uh well, Gog and the land of Magog, which is the king over Russia and Russia itself. So it's against them, right? Uh and so we read in Ezekiel 38, we can see that there the bricks essentially are going to come up against us, right, in the wilderness. So when we get in the wilderness, that's what niggas need to be looking forward to. That's about to happen. Right? Most High One is us.
Uh,
And then chapter 39 is talks about how we defeat them, and then we start building up the city. All right. So that can happen in this near future, most high will, and how things are being played out. It's looking like it's around the corner. So this is just stuff our people need to be looking forward to. All right. But anybody got any other questions? Any other questions? Any other topics? Going once, going twice. So cool. Well, with that, we give all honor and glory to Yahweh, and we do so by his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ended calls Jesus Christ, and say, Shalom.
Shalom, fam.